Hello Heisters, and welcome to another exciting episode of Prop House. On this episode, we're going to be making the masks of the main crew from Payday 2. This is going to include Hoxton. The masks for this build were all 3D printed, the models for which were designed by Valortail on Thingiverse. Links to his YouTube channel and where you can download these masks will be in the description below. And with all that covered, let's hop right into the video. Time to start this heist off with a little bit of sanding. Now next we would normally move on to spraying it with a primer and filler. However, this time we're going to try something different. Instead, we'll be doing a process known as resin smoothing. With resin smoothing, we'll be taking some UV cure resin and coating the mask with it. The resin will help to fill in the gaps between the layer lines. Be sure to wear proper safety equipment before applying the resin. In order to do this process, we will first take a plastic bin and place the mask inside. We'll then take a small amount of resin and start brushing it evenly over the entirety of the piece. Be sure to cover all parts of the mask. Once that's done, we'll then take it outside to let it cure in the sunlight. Once the mask is properly dried, we will bring it back inside. As you can see, the resin has smoothed out the mask quite nicely. However, some areas are going to require a little bit more sanding in order to smooth it out further. While sanding, be sure to wear proper face protection as the resin dust could be hazardous. For this sanding phase, we'll be using wet sanding as it produces a smoother finish. To wet sand, simply apply a little water to the sandpaper and sand away as usual. Well, you'll want to start with a bit of a higher grit, somewhere around the 300 to 400 range, and work your way up from there. Now some areas may not have been completely filled with the resin. In order to fill this up, we'll be using a little bit of wood fill. Smoothing complete, we can move on to painting, and we'll first start by taking them outside and spraying them with a black primer. Next, we'll be taping off certain areas of the mask in order to apply the primary base colors. Taking Douse's mask, we're now going to tape off areas in order to make the flag. We're going to start with the blue section and then move on to the red stripes and nose. Now we're finally ready to start on the more detailed painting. However, for that we're going to need an airbrush. Unfortunately, I do not own an airbrush, but I do know an easy way to get one, and it's going to involve using a little bit of Citadel paint. Simply take the Citadel paint pod and place it in a basement area or similar workshop. Before long, a miniature painter should show up and you'll be able to easily capture them. Now normally we'd be using acrylics for this process, however, the airbrush is just going to provide a little bit extra detail that the acrylics just can't match. Next, we're going to create the stars for Dallas's mask. In order to do this, we're going to take a sheet of labels and print out a star pattern on it. We'll then take an X-Acto knife and cut out the star in order to create a stencil. We'll then stick the labels onto the mask and begin painting over the star. Once that's dry, you can remove the labels. Some of the stars may need to be touched up where the paint bled through. Now it's time to create the head strap. Take an elastic band and cut it to approximately 20 inches. As you notice, the ends become a bit frayed. To fix this, simply dip them in some black paint or wax. Once that's dry, grab a buckle and loop the elastic band through the buckle. Then attach the band to either side of the mask at the two mounting points. Simply repeat the process again with the top mounting point, and voila, you have a head strap.